Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second podcast, first interview. So still kind of a maiden voyage. We have Tara from Earth. Yes, that's right. And we are going to go into when spirituality becomes a product, escaping the traps of the modern spiritual movement. So as you'll hear me say often, or maybe just one time so far, we might have the cause and solution to all of life's problems. So there's your hook. So now that we reeled you in, if it wasn't our cute mugs already, let's get into some good stuff here.
Welcome to The Infinite Thread with your hosts Kian Shores and Nora, a Netism podcast.
So we're going to bring this conversation back down to earth because we're getting maybe a little too airy-fairy, a little too woo-woo. And it's not so much that. I feel a lot of this is going to be ownership of your life. It's actually a saying. I have it on my shirt. It says, own your life. So with that, I'm just going to read a little introduction to get you primed. So modern spirituality promises healing, awakening, abundance, higher vibrations, and transformation. But what happens when the industry selling the cure also helps create the feeling that something is wrong with you? In this episode of The Infinite Thread with Kian Shores and Nora Spinnor and Tara from Earth, we sit down to examine some of the biggest traps in the modern spiritual movement: manufactured inadequacy, endless healing cycles, spiritual consumerism, identity performances, guru dependence, vague, high vibration language, man, and the constant promise that the next course, the next retreat, the next reading, the next will finally make you whole. Together, we explore the difference between the genius or the genuine spiritual development and spirituality packaged as a lifestyle product. The conversation then asks, what happens when spiritual language becomes disconnected from responsibility, community, nature, and the realities of everyday life? There it is, folks. And as I'm always also going to say, this is for education purposes only, so you can finally become educated and stop believing the entertainers, even though we're going to be a little entertaining as well. That was a lot. I'm done. Tara, take it away. They're here for you, not us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm Tara from Earth is my kind of name. I kind of have been on this path for a long time. My awakening was unfolding for a long time, but probably around 2016 was one of my bigger awakenings. And that was when I kind of started dabbling in spiritual tools, astrology, tarot. I started listening to podcasts, listening to YouTube channels, things like that. And over time, I just have always been just curious, questioning everything. I always just question everything, but still was looking for help, looking for guidance. So that was back in 2016. And in 2020, another big awakening, of course, for many of us happened. And that was really when I was bringing it all together. And I was starting to see kind of what was happening outside of me, right? Which were people just getting a little more lost, looking for answers, looking for more knowledge and wisdom. And that was, I think, probably the biggest moment I started noticing things, recognizing people were looking for those looking for authority, looking for somewhere to gather more knowledge and to learn about themselves. And so 2020 was just a big part of my journey. I became an astrologer for a while. So I was doing astrology readings for a long time. I did tarot readings, was making online content here and there. And as I started getting into multidimensional energy healing. And as I continued evolving on my path, I started to really just question what I was doing, as anyone still does. Things just started to not fit for me. And I started asking why. And over time, I just realized I think I was moving beyond some of these tools, but there was this part of myself, part of my ego, my spiritual ego, that was still kind of hanging on to this spiritual identity because it was a part of my life for so long. And it just brought up I became so intrigued with this topic of how something like spirituality, something that's supposed to liberate you from an experience, also kind of keep you trapped as well in this whole new matrix that you were kind of creating yourself. So over the last probably 2 to 3 years, I've just been on a true sovereign path, is what I like to call it. Consciousness path. I consider it spirituality, but over time I started to just develop different tools and more grounding, more embodiment practices that brought me back to who I am, and that had me look at all these attachments that I think can happen on a spiritual path. And so through that, I just realized what people maybe are needing isn't always something outside of them, but it's just something that they've had all along. And after gathering all this spiritual knowledge and this wisdom and this information, and I've studied a lot of things, I've done the mentorships, it just didn't matter anymore to me. I got to that point where I'm like, it doesn't matter. And I could finally let it all go because I finally learned to be present with the truth that was already in my field and just be able to sit with that and honor that. And that's also what helped me kind of reclaim a lot of my sovereignty. And when you start reclaiming more of that, and then starting to embody your own knowledge, your own wisdom, you really do start to see the facade outside of you. And of course, that's going to be my truth, maybe not someone else's, but I just started to want to talk about it. So I started making content online. I wasn't fully ready yet because I was a little nervous to start talking about some of these things of how spirituality can disconnect you from the self even more, how we need to bring back embodiment. We need to bring back the somatic practice of nervous system regulation and coming back to our true architecture. And so there was just a lot that I was seeing that was lacking. And that's just because I've been moving through it. I've been on both sides and I've kind of been coming back to this balanced space where I just can observe it. And my goal is just to ask questions and to start conversations. As any human, I have strong opinions and I like to share, but I really want to help people just have more discernment, right? Like just get back to discernment and to not outsource your authority. And that's the biggest thing I have been noticing in spirituality, in community, online. A lot of people are just still outsourcing their power. And that's what I don't want to see. And in that, they're disconnecting from themselves, from the true power that they have, the true power that they hold. So that's kind of what I do for work. I'm a coach. I offer mentorships. And my goal is to help you reclaim your sovereignty and help give you the tools to help you do that. Because that's something I think isn't always talked about in spirituality and with influencers. There's sometimes it's light and fluffy, right? We were saying, you can get release, things like that, but there's not true transformation happening. And it's because we need to really be coming back into the body now. The universe is telling us to come back to the body and trust what we already know, trust what's already here.
Right there. I think that's a wrap. Good night, folks. Trust is already here. It's the first developmental milestone cross-culturally.
A lot of people outsource their power and they look to somebody else to tell them, what this feeling means for them. And I say that's one of the biggest red flags that I see is when you're going to somebody with a problem or a guru, a spiritual leader, and they're telling you how to interpret that problem, or they're trying to sell you more practices because, that problem is a symptom of X, Y, and Z, and it's not how you think it is. It has to do with this program. Yeah, I mean, I like what you said about that.
Yeah, I think, we're in an awakening is always a very vulnerable time. And I think that's the part that can people are very curious. People become very open and you want to learn, you want to explore, you want to try practices to come back to yourself. So there's this eagerness to learn, but at the same time, there is that fear there where that fear is quietly built almost into the sales funnel a little bit because it is. People will tell you, I'm telling you what's wrong with you. We're taking their interpretation as our truth, but it's not true. They're interpreting your frequency, but you're the one living it. So that's also something I try to help clients and creators with is that they can guide you. Yes, they can support you, but they aren't you. They will never know what you truly need. And I think that's the frustrating thing I see a lot is, you need this activation, you're blocked, or you're going to miss something, like you're missing out on the timeline or whatever. There's just it is fear. Like there's a lot of fear that is underneath all of it. And which is just so ironic because spirituality should be bringing you more peace, right? But I think it's getting more people in this like elevated, activated, nervous, I think people's nervous systems, they're really activated right now. That's what I notice. And they think they're like, I must need to heal this then. I must need to go to the next ceremony. I guess I need another plant medicine retreat. But their nervous system is just asking for them to be still, be silent, and just come back to you, And I think there's an addiction here. I see that a lot.
Yeah.
I live in Austin. So it's like I see this addictive behavior, this cycle, and this never-ending loop of release. oh, okay, I feel better. It's temporary. Then, the discomfort comes back. And then I got to find an explanation, go to the next ceremony, feel better. And then it's just this never ending cycle, right? And that's what I'm feeling that's happening collectively. And I really want to see people break out of that.
I know. I go to an amazing event every year. Well, I've been twice, but Confluence outside there in Bandera. Alex Zeck's show, The Way
Yeah.
Forward, puts it on. And amongst other people in Sovereignty Ranch with the Engelbright family and or Engelhart. And anyway, I even say this as a joke too, because when I'm there, I'm like, you guys can't just be like a hippie version of Burning Man. Like a year goes by, I get all these emails. I try to reach out, like, let's do a monthly Zoom, have some, everything from jokes to real world building and strategy. And like, what do you offer? Like, give me a little presentation. You could help market to even who we are. We'd buy your products, keep the money in house. Like, there's so many things and it's almost crickets. I'm like, I have over 100 people and there's like a few people that are into this. But then every year I see you and you're like the most amazing, and it's the most amazing people experience ever. It's indescribable. Actually can't recommend it. It's just like a needed thing to do. But when I always joke, then it's like you're still living in an apartment in Tucson. Like you watch all this sovereignty and back to the land. And it's like, and I'm talking to myself first. You all just happen to be listening. So if you want to throw me under the bus, I already have. Like I'm a victim to this. I say I've been doing this and that, and another year goes by, and it's like we want more information, another podcast, another thing, just more. And I'm a analytical Virgo to the nth degree, but super intuitive and psychic also. So my brain's like always going, and it's like, how do you come back to Earth, but then go off into the the space of exploring it, so to speak? And yeah, it's a tough one, because then all of a sudden at the end of the day, it's like, are you even doing what needs to be done? And that's what's so awesome about even just how I got connected with all of Netism and doing this now, and Netism, and just how I met someone at Confluence who then just was like, you're cool. You seem like into world building. Let's do stuff. Be on this call. I meet Nora and Ben, talk on another call. I'm talking to Ben for an hour at length. Nora, we're doing a little Zoom here and there. Hey, do you want to be part of our, team and host a podcast? Because I'm mentioning things and now we're talking. And now people are hearing a message that needs to be heard. But it's like that action step is so vital. And it's even in like homeopathy or even holistic world. And I'm on board, I'm on community calls with very prominent doctors in the holistic truther world. And even they're still having the allopathic approach. It's like, you're not taking all these meds, but do you have your herbs? Do you have your this? Do you have your that? Now you have 95 powders and things, which might not actually even be what you think. And what's the source of those? And really, do you even know where those are coming from? Anyway, I can go on and on about this, but it really comes back down to the solace of you. And I'm on Dr. Andrew Kaufman's calls. And his whole thing is like owning your own health, be your own doctor, but then seek out experts as well and really collaborate with community. Because we're not in this alone, even though it's our own path, our own way, but in a community-driven angle. And that road, we're all in our own lane, like literally, like get out of my way because it's my way, but we're all on the same, highway, so to speak. And so, these are the conversations that need to be had, whether people like it or not. So
they really are. And like, it's not through more activations. Like, I kind of make a joke that's like, you don't really need any more activations. We have the sun. You're good.
You are activated. Yeah, right.
Things are happening, obviously, these solar flares, everything, you don't have to always go outside of yourself to get more activated, right? You need to work on the foundation, the architecture, your capacity to hold the light that's coming in, to hold more of yourself that's coming in. That's the real work. And that is the hard work that I think spirituality bypasses, is that hard daily work that takes discipline, consistency, repetitive action to build trust in the actual system of your body. Because that's actually what's going to create change. That's actually what's going to create a new world. If we just have people getting activated, they're living in their fantasy, but there's not much real, it's not sustainable, and it won't be sustainable. And that's what I'm feeling right now, is there's not enough sustainability. People have these beautiful, well-intentions of I'm creating a new world, we're going to this new world, but when you're not actually taking actual action, true embodied steps towards that, nothing's going to change, nothing's going to happen. And so I'm really big on that. I'm really big on how to bring people back to their bodies and build capacity for self-trust. And you will only get there by understanding you and knowing who you are. So I just say, you don't need another plant medicine ceremony. I say the hardest thing you could do is be sober in your apartment for for 2 weeks or something. Like, try that. That is your awakening right there. You don't need to take any more medicine. Sit in your apartment, be sober. Try it. It's hard. And that's, the work that I've never really been called to medicines, things like that. And you learn, you sit with your body, you learn your body, you learn your signal. And over time, yeah, you're bridging that gap between your energy body and your physical body, which is what's creating more coherence in your field. And so I'm all about coherence. It's not about high vibration. It's not high vibration, it's coherence. We need to get back to true coherence, because, high vibration can also be subjective, right? Like, what's high vibration, or low vibration? It's all just these kind of words in this language that I don't think is truly grounded in reality or truth. So
Right.
it's just creating more coherence in the field, and that is what we need to be stepping more into. So that's why I talk about this.
Yeah.
The hardest thing anybody could do is face themselves. And, it's what comes after those medicine ceremonies. If that's something that you do, that's really what's important. And a lot of people don't integrate that. They think that they can just go and have this transformative experience and they'll be good. It's like, no, the transformative experience is just that moment. What the real transformation comes after, when you apply it to your life. And when people aren't doing that, the ceremonies aren't going to help you.
No, they're not. And that's something that's also becoming a little bit dangerous. And what I do put caution out there for people who are participating, or, these ceremonies, they're just happening so often. These were ceremonies you maybe did once a year, twice a year, depends on on the person, depends on the tradition, of course, but they're happening so often now. And that's keeping you, again, in that activated state. So you can honestly convince yourself you're in a high vibration, but you are detaching yourself from the physical body. And I think because we're in such a different energetic environment than we were even 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the veil's very thin right now. So you're getting yourself into just a kind of a dangerous position with these medicines if you're not doing that integrative work. I mean, that's, why you will see spiritual psychosis. You'll see people really drift, literally detach from their bodies because they're not even able to integrate it anymore. So you're completely overriding your own body and energetic system's capacity for what it can actually hold. And that's something that's never really taken into consideration, is the energy part, our architecture, and knowing, your limit. And I think that is what frustrates me too, is seeing that when you enter maybe a space, there's almost this pressure that you have to be doing a certain amount of release. And I do think women specifically will push their bodies to extreme limits in these circles, in these ceremonies and spaces, because everyone else is, or because there's, a leader, and they're just overriding their body. They're not listening anymore, and they're putting themselves, I think, in a more dangerous position. And that's also something that I think is really important, is you have to come back to the body. It's all just about the body, and then using your discernment, whether to participate in a ceremony, a ritual, a plant medicine. Can my body hold this? Is my body ready for this? Like, sit with yourself, and ask and trust, and say no. You have to say no. You don't have to be pressured by your friends or what the cool new spiritual thing is, just that's the one thing too. Yeah.
Yeah. You should miss out on some FOMO.
Yeah. And I
Some FOMO on some FOMO. I know.
there is. There's like this FOMO, and like I see it a lot in Austin. There's just event after event. I go to some of them if I feel it's aligned, because I do energy work, but I will not participate in any ceremony, any ritual. And I think that's just something you got to get better at. It's like, just because it's, we welcome everyone and this will be good for you, that's not aligned for me. The energies you're bringing in are maybe not aligned for me. The portal you're opening, why? It's like, why would I enter someone else's portal? I don't know. Do they know what they're opening? Are they like, these are questions I always ask,
I was just gonna mention
I just want to always put that out there. Yeah, so there's just a lot of that it's a mess. It's muddy. Like, there's a lot of mixed frequencies that maybe aren't aligned to you, maybe aren't good for you, that can pull you also off your own alignment. So you have to just be really careful and understand what you're energetically consenting to in these spaces and community. It sounds great. It looks great from the outside, but energetically, there's a lot going on, and understanding the energetic hygiene aspect of it is really important and needs to be talked about more.
Yeah. No, I know. I always say, and I've said this probably, well, on our first one we did, but I always say patterns equal problems, or at least something to pay attention to. They can be something amazing too. But whenever something kind of becomes a little more normalized, even if it's, I don't know, cool sounding, there's always an agenda. There's always the string pullers in the background. It's not like they're just going to let this be a thing. And how like just the legalization, well, I know y'all in Texas, but even California, all these states would talk about with not just cannabis, weed, whatever, but even psychedelics and just the conversation of, oh, it'll help you heal this and that. You're absolutely right. Here's the thing. We took acid, shrooms. We were young. We started at middle school with smoking and drinking, high school with psychedelics and things. And I'm telling you, even later in life with DMT, different things, I have had the most profound experiences with a couple friends in a random bench in a park, haven't fasted, haven't become activated, haven't gone to a jungle in Bolivia with some dude making a brew in the freaking forest. Now, not to say that isn't amazing and would be, but it's like I've talked to God's source. I've seen that air melt around me. I've tasted color and sound and been to Cloud City and, where there's formless forms and shapeless shapes and, wall-less rooms. I mean, crazy stuff. Places I even went to as a kid, which is weird. In like these daydream states, I'm like, oh, is that where I was going? Like 30 years later, I just had to smoke something and went back to kid brain. But like, no, it is. And it's like, again, it's that other answer of, there's a couple quick notes. It's like people that never really want to then face that. And then the activation, it's like when you go to the gym, working out actually tears your muscles. It's a stressor. Your body's not happy. It's like, oh, I'm pissed. What's happening? Then you rebuild on the off days. That's why they took a day off. The old school dudes before steroids were involved, they just sat around and ate good food and the body rebuilds. That's the integration, And when you have a mind, body, soul, we're on Earth. So when everyone wants to like vibe high and like transcend and raise frequency, this planet literally couldn't. One of the best guys you'll ever need to listen to, Seven Bomar with Understanding. Amazing. Dude's unbelievable. Just beyond recognition with stuff. He's like, the frequency, whatever, 7.53. He's like, if it was any higher, just think of this. The Earth needs this constant, solid, basic, slow drum. Plants couldn't hold the Earth. Seeds wouldn't root. If you really think about it, because vibing high, it's spinning faster in essence, or what we think of. So when you're like even trying to like raise to that, like, oh, these other like dimensions and drums, like for whatever reason, we're here now and this is what we chose and this is why it's amazing. So maybe that happens. Maybe we need to go somewhere. Maybe we just need to like make this the best thing ever and realize it's perfect. And so even one person I listened to or have had some interactions with literally was trying to get on the like enlightenment tip and vibe so high, they literally got cancer out of nowhere. So it's almost like the body, the brain, the other soul realm, whatever, your spirit side, the shadow side was like, oh, you don't really want to be there?
That brought them back.
I'll help you out. Like, oh, you don't want to be there? Like, come on. All right. Fine. And it was like, almost like, whoa, like maybe that's what was happening. Like the body is like, okay, you actually do want. So she had to literally flip the script and reappreciate life and self and all things, the hero's journey. And it was like, yeah, like the love of that is then, and like literally like whatever air quotes cured herself, and yeah, it's wild. So yeah, we need to really come back to, I always say, walk toward your shadow. Yeah. That's my new thing. So it's, there really is an agenda at play to make you dependent on mommy and daddy government. The authority is the author-ity. So it's like the author-ity, like the little author. So they're writing your story, your book, which is yours. But we need help. We need people to direct us, like you, like other people that have modalities, Netism, what I'm developing on my own tip. And so it's a tough one. It's like you need the help and then to like bounce on your own and like go back and forth and not just be in that corner of, whether it's an endless ceremony or just another book or just another whatever. But anyway.
Yeah, there's still that like people really like took on the escape the matrix, like literally. And now it's like no one's wanting to no, everyone's about let's transcend the earth. It's like, no, we're supposed to participate in it. And that was a big shift for me where I embrace being a human. Am I like totally from here? No, we're from everywhere, but like, I don't have to make that my identity. That's like a big part of like what I want to share is just enjoy being human. And participate in the world and embrace all aspects of you, because that's why you chose this. We didn't choose this to try to just stay elevated and contact and channel aliens and like whatever people like want to put out that sounds really cool. And it's
Yeah.
almost this escapism and this avoided energy from re-entering the real world, because there is trauma there. And I understand, like, there's a lot that of the world brings up. And I think when people felt so betrayed, when people first awake, like they wake up, you feel betrayed, right? From, oh my gosh, the government, we're being lied to. So, the first thing you do is rebel, and you almost lean, you go pretty, and I did the same. We all do it, and then then you make your whole life a little bit about escaping the matrix, and we got to help everyone. We got to leave. And it's like, it's interesting that no, that's not it either. It's not to
Yeah.
transcend the earth experience. It's to participate in it,
Yeah.
holding your sovereignty and participating in it and enjoying it. And just, so yeah, if I go to events, they'll ask, where are you from? What's your star? And I'm like, I'm a human. Like, I'm here for this. Like, let's bring it here. I
Yeah.
want to meet who you are. I don't want to meet your label or your spiritual name. Like, what's your real name? Like, and there's just these things, I'm ready to have real conversations again,
Yeah, what
For
about when
real.
spiritual identity kind of takes over your real identity and healing yourself as a person, and it becomes about that spiritual ego? Or if that spiritual identity puts you on like as superior, like you're not a human anymore, you're from, XYZ star system. It's another way of separating, of escaping from what you're really supposed to be doing, which is facing yourself, living your life in a meaningful way, however that is for you, and connecting with others, and, dealing with the things that are going to actually get you to that next level, after you die. Once you have learned all of your lessons, then you can really ascend.
Yeah, the spiritual identity is the hardest identity, I think, that you'll have to let go of, because obviously you have a belief system now attached to it. And that makes it just harder for humans. And we get attached to spirituality for so many reasons. And these are reasons I had to look at, because I would say I was attached for a while. Purpose. It gives people purpose. It gives them meaning. Like, instead of this painful thing happened, like this happened for my awakening. This is part of my mission. My soul chose this, and the meaning can be healing and all, but it can also become, people can also get dependent, right, on the explanation, or trying to make everything have a cosmic explanation. So yeah, I think there's purpose there. It brings you power, like, I think it just gives you a sense of control at the end of the day. Like, if I don't know what's going on, I have my tarot deck. I can go get an energy reading. I can ask my psychic or my healer. So, but the danger is really when that tool becomes a source of our own power instead of something that helps us recognize our own. And that was something, I think, why I loved astrology. It gave me meaning. It helped me see, like it helped me have control in a sense. I did love it because, like, I love interpreting. I'm into psychology, human behavior, all of it. Astrology was my system. But I was noticing that I was so future forward. Like, I was thinking because, like, as an astrologer, you're looking ahead all the time. That just became natural. And I realized I was not being present with myself anymore. And because those were also, I had followers that were like kind of relying on me to do a reading. And there was a little bit of ego attachment there. And I had to look at that. And I'm glad I did, because letting go of astrology really was one of the most liberating things that ever happened, because it brought me back to reality, to my present moment. I no longer have to care. It's so relieving to somebody who spent years doing that. And yeah, these tools should always have an exit. There should always be an exit door to our tools. They're not something I believe you're not supposed to hang on to them forever. I think they come around your life. You're here to integrate the lesson, and then you need to also know when to let them go. And it was telling me to let it go. And it was really hard because our ego can get so attached for all those reasons that I mentioned. I thought I was going to be an astrologer for the rest of my life, and I believed in it. It was my belief system. Yeah, letting the spiritual identity go is probably going to be the hardest one for everybody. it takes small steps. But it's also just, again, if you do the work of trusting your own power, trusting that you are the source, that you can get the answers, your body knows everything, like anything you need to know, your body holds all the answers. You just have to start trusting that. And slowly over time, I no longer use tarot. I just tune in and I get yeses and nos from my body. And yeah, that's what I want to teach others, is to empower themselves to become their own authority, become their own leader. But it's going to be hard. That's the one I think a lot of people will struggle with, is walking away from the spiritual identity, because there's so much attached to it, unfortunately. And yeah, and the world we live in doesn't really help either. So it's a hard one for sure.
Well, it's like the true, no, I know. That was a great, yeah, no, that was awesome. Because it's, like you said, it's almost like when you realize what is quote unquote the truth, or at least that side of it, and from what you've been taught. Yeah, you go through, it's akin to like, what is it? The 5 stages of grief, it's what, like shock, denial, anger, what is it? Acceptance, and then I don't know, reconciliation, I think. So it's the same thing when you start to realize all these agendas and conspiracy truths. And then there's like grad school level. Like I'm listening to people that are like former PhD nuclear physicists. I mean, people that are literally going into like atoms aren't what we've been taught, DNA, cells, like it's crazy. But it actually makes it more of the real, true, amazing, what I call science magic, like what really is this realm and what really makes it work. And a lot of times when you've spoken, it reminds me of, I don't know if you're familiar with like any biofield tuning or Eileen McCusick and her great work, and how she's like pretty much like scientifically showing we have an aura and all these things. I mean, it's just all these rivers of energy and whatnot. I mean, well, there's other people that go into all sorts of stuff with where this goes, but it's the identity. I mean, it's the foundation of life. And so it's like, what's the meaning of life? You come here, there's a little identity that's developed that turns into your whole lifetime identity while you're a child, whether you're raised by this family or not, in this country or not. And then you literally, like you said, with trust, that's the first milestone. If you don't have that, where are you going to go? So now I feel like all of a sudden people are, it's like we're lost and on purpose. We're like the sailor thrown into this realm, this infinite realm of possibilities. And then somehow we're supposed to navigate this ship with all these distractions. That's the whole plan, right? It's the game. It's fun. It's just really see the traumas and all these things in hindsight. You always said, looking forward, you learn so much from looking backward. But then fixating it is depression. Always looking forward, fixating on that's anxiety. But you need both of those to help guide you in the moment, which is weird. So is the moment even really the moment? If it's like, I don't know. But it's how to shed those, you're right. And it's like we keep looking for this outside source of this safe base to explore from. That's the whole trust thing. And if you don't have it, you're going to seek it from this person, that thing, this book. And people go decades. I mean, people that have disproven things they were hardcore into for 40 years, they went so hard into it, they're like, wait a minute, it's the complete opposite. Almost are like, to a point of like, I don't want to say like depression, but to a real existential moment of like, but then there's that hump and you go over and then you're like, oh my God, this is the like greener grass side. And then you connect with people who are actually really geared towards helping. And then you're like, wait, this is what community is. This is what family is. We're so dissolved from the village. So we're always looking for that. We don't even know our neighbors anymore, whether you live on a huge homestead or an apartment building. And it's like, that to me is enough healing. Just knowing people, going to events like we're talking about, connecting like this, that's more medicine than anything. I mean, that's more, I'm outside. There's these 2 deer, this mom and her little baby who's now kind of big. The last few days, they're just hanging out near me. I'm like raking and moving rocks and doing all this stuff. They're literally like 20 feet from me, just chilling. I'm having this like mind melt. I get into trippy stuff too. Like I can work with energy. I've put up fields. I mean, I've been to some events where I've had to put up some protection stuff because people bring in things and you're like, hey, I don't want your portal opened up and activated here. Like, who are you? I'm just some stranger. So let me help with this. That's a whole nother thing. But when I'm just chilling with some deer with the redwoods behind me, I'm like, this is spirituality. Like, this is the whole thing. And I hear voices, but it's really the earth, the trees, the mama universe, your ancestors, whatever you want to call it, God, the angels, Jesus, Muhammad. It's all the same, folks. Sorry, spoiler alert. Or your higher self. And I'm really tuning into that. I have my whole life, but the last year or so, I'm really, I don't want to say playing with it, but really learning about it. And there's moments where like, and this is the last part of this little riff, and there's a whole nother lecture, but sometimes it'll have a little thing that says in your head, change lanes or not. If it's really hurried or sped up, sometimes that could be a bad, like you've heard like Watiko or the flyers or these thoughts that come in your head. If you look up, Jerry Marzinski's got some amazing stuff on schizophrenia and how it's like literally entities, like it's, again, not what Western science says, But if there's a voice that's calm and direct and soothing and like for you that pops into your head, I know it sounds crazy, but it's your voice. Fine. It's your own thoughts. It could be. It's both probably. All of a sudden, like I'm driving and it said change lanes. And it said change lanes now. And I did. A guy on a bike flew right into my lane. Had I not have changed, I would have ran him over. Guaranteed. A friend of mine, same thing. He got a voice in his head that said, you need to go into the shoulder now. And he did. And a semi came through and would have like literally plowed their whole family. And they were like, why are we in the shoulder? He's like, I don't like, he knew, but he didn't want to say it. And anyway, I digress, but that's just what came to me. So something needed to be said about that. And I know it sounds long-winded. That's like a whole talk unto itself, but that's tuning into yourself, the real spirituality, in my opinion. So
it is.
Yeah, you got to listen to your spirit, that intuition. That's really what Netism wants to get you reconnected with. So you're not looking to external sources, learning how to trust yourself, because you've got three parts of yourself: your mind, your spirit, and your soul. Your mind is what's active on the local circumstances. Your spirit sees a lot wider, and getting that connection between your mind and your spirit, listening when you have that voice come in, change lanes. I've had countless circumstances like that. And there were a couple, in my early teens where I didn't listen, and I learned real fast to listen to that voice. And that's something that I'm always paying attention to now.
Yeah. Yeah. And then sometimes you still touch the hot stove sometimes.
Yeah. Gotta do it every now and then.
Right. That's why we're here. We're here to still, I'll try one more time. And yeah. And then on identity, the one thing I help others detach from their identities is just the one identity I embody is the creator. Like, you are the creator. And once I started to embody that energy, it's kind of amazing how all these other identities you'll start noticing, and they'll either fall away or you will start noticing like their role for you. So that's like one like amazing practice I started doing was we're the creator of this experience. We're playing a game. We play these little roles. We put on these little hats as to play, to have aspects of ourselves to come through. But the goal is to not get attached to those identities, and trusting that when one leaves, another's going to that something else is going to catch you, that something else is meant for you. And that was kind of me stepping away from spirituality. That was hard because, yes, it was my work. I put so much time and energy, 10 years of reading and learning and all these amazing things. But I trusted if I let go of this identity, that new things are going to come online. And it was remarkable, like what started coming up for me. And now I can play. Now I can just have fun and live this human experience, the way it's meant to be lived. I don't have to feel like, I'm here to save someone, or, I don't get wrapped up in a lot of this spiritualized stuff. And it's honestly been the most like relieving thing. So, but I always, a good way to see if you're attached to something is asking yourself, if this left tomorrow, how would that make me feel? And like tuning into your body and feeling like, okay. And if you kind of feel like, ooh, I don't want to leave. Of course, like friends, family, things like that, that's different. But like an identity, a role that you're playing, title, if that left, and then you kind of start looking at that and working on that. And so that's work that I do all the time to make sure I'm not attaching, and that I can just enjoy this experience a lot better, so that I'm not limiting myself through that identity.
Identity is a huge deal because people get connected to these roles. And then when that role goes away, they're like, I don't even know who I am anymore. And you're not really supposed to be too connected to these roles because these roles come and go, but your identity is fluid and you're not tied to any specific role. And you have to let go of those things so new things can move into your life. Like somebody who's attached to being a parent and then their child grows older, but they still can't let that go. It becomes a problem. You have to move as your roles change in life.
Yeah, exactly. We're multidimensional, we all, and like, I think this is what we're seeing. We're seeing this massive shift, right? Heading into like more of a new paradigm of everyone's like, I do all these things. I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. Like everyone's gifts and skills are coming online, or at least people are becoming more aware that they're not just meant to be here to sit behind a desk for 50, 60 years. And And there's something really beautiful about that, but it is creating some anxiety because everyone's like, how am I supposed to, do all these things? Like, what does my Instagram bio, what should that say, or I understand, like, because I was in the same boat, but you're here to do it all, as long as you just learn to let go and trust that these aspects will start coming through because we are fluid. And when you get attached to one, yeah, you're limiting yourself from all these other amazing things that you're here to express and to share with the world. And so getting people to really be able to have the capacity to hold all these beautiful aspects of them without attaching to any of them. That is the true goal of the creator, so that you can play and express and share. And that's really what the new paradigm is going to be. We're just in this really uncomfortable state and phase right now where people don't know where to go and they're going to just stay attached to this identity because that's all they know themselves to be. And I'm just here to say it is not true. You are so much more than being a tarot reader. It's the stuff that I've came to realize about what the light worker is really here to is completely probably different than what we've been taught, or what a star seed is,
Yeah.
What we're really here to share our light and just trusting that.
They're all great buzzwords. I mean, just even a baby to incarnate through a womb in a physical matter of condensed light. I mean, come on, we're all star seeds. Whether you grew up to be an alcoholic under a bridge or a surgeon in the ER. I mean, but I know what you mean. It's those words, they always circle back. I know. What you just said, I always go into the word.
Using it because I think, like I said, people identify.
No, it's true. No, that's what I was going to say. You're saying it in a good way.
I want it because they're just big buzzwords. Yes,
I know. Yeah.
It's spirituality. They're these buzzwords that I think people connect their purpose to. And I think that's what needs to be. Sometimes we have to use the labels so that it helps people understand.
I know. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. We're all from everywhere. Yeah.
I know what you meant though. It was perfect. I just always have to riff on things. It's my East Coast style even though I'm a California boy. Yeah. I know.
No, it's cool.
Well, these are cool.
I love it.
This guy. So here's one you'll love. These are literally, I don't know what culture, what this goes back to, but your hands are called light hammers because they're literally wielding light. They're literally forging light. You know what I mean? You're forging matter. So it's wow, you're light hammers. Talk about, your energy centers. But yeah, no, we are light workers in that sense. It's to lighten everything. I love the words. And this is where your ID is your id. Even Western psychology has that, your ID, everything's your ID. What's your ID? But backwards, it's DI, which is always before something, which means division, diversion, diligent. There's a lot of digress. There's a lot. You could just even DE. And then I don't go too far into what all the words going on the level, but I've learned how to really read even symbols. So a D is a zero, or a circle, a zero, an O in half. So it's like a half circles. That's why they use it a lot in the wordplay, the spelling, right? The cursive, all the words. And then the I is the self. I won't get into before I'd have to draw it out and stuff, but it's almost like a division of self. So your ID is what you form. You have a personality through life. My old coworker, Mallory, she was funny. She was really witty and kind of snarky. And she's like, I can't get rid of this. I've been it for 38 years. I'm trying to become a better person and, lose weight and this and that and find my purpose. But this is who I am, So it's like you're saying, you have these different roles and you could have a crazy death, all of a sudden a friend dies out of nowhere. That could shape your life more than any spiritual. You might go into a dark depression for a minute, but you might come out of it with a better enlightened, whatever. Yeah. A buzzword, better stance on life of when my best friend died at 22, I was devastated, but afterwards it's oh my God, I literally had this moment of the sky became brighter and the birds chirped louder. It was whoa, I appreciate life more. And so, yeah, I really like where this is going. Identity is a crazy one. Yeah. Again, that's my main research and a lot of people I listen to and go into, that's the main crux. Talk about, 2020 and things as we become locked into these states and it becomes a tribalism and we go left side, right side, red side, blue side. It's two wings on the same bird. Let's just focus on living within a system. And it's a game. They present all these challenges we have to get through. So we seek other means, these amazing events, connecting and Anyway, no, I'm into it. I love what you're getting at. It's tangible and practical. It's just scary for a lot. So
Yeah. It's
yeah,
I love talking about identity. Yeah, that's probably my favorite topic too, just because there's so much there. Like we said, there's so much tied into that. And that's why the spiritual identity just like totally blew my mind, because it's just there's just so much there to understand of like, and that was just through my own experience. I can now understand like, and try to help people, or just bring to awareness, right? Like my experience with my spiritual identity and how that's so limiting too. Like it, and yeah, that's one of the, it's very fascinating to me. And as we step into this new paradigm, we're just gonna, we're going to be, our spiritual identity is going to be challenged even more, and so giving people the tools, the practical tools to help them build that trust and safety that everything's going to be okay when you start dropping them, and that this isn't all who you are. Like, trust me, this isn't it. But it's scary. There's a lot of fear there, and
yeah,
understandably.
yeah. Fear can be healthy. What's that line? Is it what paranoia? It's good for you. Paranoia will destroy you. So I had another point, and then I wanted
Yeah.
to get into one last thing. Nora, do you have anything else you want to say right now, or on this thread
Yeah,
we're
definitely.
going on?
Fear is misunderstood.
Even just in like the supplement world, like most people don't even realize, like most, even like I mentioned, even powders, like if you're not getting adequate water, they're going to pull moisture out of your system. And I used to get all the mushroom, all the things. I'm like, is this even doing something? Like, have we even, it's almost impossible to take a baseline of where you were at, whether it's spirituality or more of the fitness world or whatever, the mind, body, soul, whichever angle we're looking at. Like, there's almost no way to really, like, there is a way to know if something works or not, but there's a lot of stuff that have even been disproven. Like, a lot of red light therapy isn't as good as people think. Just go outside. Like, the light literally goes through your clothes, even the red light. Like, there's a lot of things, even, and like people who used to even sell this stuff. And it is amazing. Do healthy stuff. But my thing is almost like, and I used to work in social services quite recently and manage grants in a nonprofit and stuff. And I've just seen this slow squeeze. We've all seen prices go up. This is a system. Everything's planned years in advance. I've seen how government money flows. It's not who you think's doing it. It's your team it's so planned. It's insane. My whole point is we need to save our money. I don't want to take away business, because that's the last thing I want to get into is what you do, Tara, but even more. But like, another thing for $30 or $50 a month, or another bottle, another this, like over a year, that's thousands. Like, are we even focused on
No,
like
I'm well,
getting our land, get it, whatever you want to be, even if you want to live in the suburbs, like what are we really putting that towards? Generational wealth, or just like, I don't want to say a new pair of Jordans, but maybe it's a new herb, Maybe you could grow your own. So that's my biggest thing, is we always need a savior and a scapegoat. Some call it Jesus, some call it Trump. Not saying that's the same thing, but we always need someone to save us and then to also blame. You weren't there for me. Oh God, help me. It's like, and that's this mindset we've literally embodied. I say in a funny way, and so we've always been looking. And that's the last thing I wanted to say is like, folks, we really need to, because I'm the same. Like, I've been really having to renegotiate that with myself too. So that was the last little point I wanted to mention. And then I just wanted you to go off on, I was looking at your website and Instagram, and I'm not sure if all this is still exactly what you do, but your creator recalibration, your creator house. If you want to go off of a few points on what I just said, go for it. If you want to dive into what you really do for your work and just hit home for as long as you want on that, or anything else.
yeah. I mean, the last thing I'll just say, kind of regarding everything we've talked about, is just like, don't give your authority away just because you're entering unfamiliar territory. That's kind of the biggest like thing that I could walk away. Like, that's my biggest advice, I guess. And just because you're entering something that's unfamiliar to you, you're automatically going to maybe perceive somebody as having more knowledge than you, more spiritual knowledge than you, or because they have a title, they have a following, they have certifications, they have psychic abilities and a language that you may not understand. But you do not ever let someone else convince you what your soul needs. And don't ever also believe that every uncomfortable feeling you have means you're blocked, or so just like using a lot more discernment and pain, and just holding your own sovereignty when having these experiences or interactions with anybody else. I think there's this like unfortunate hierarchy that happens in spirituality, and people kind of place themselves underneath people or whatever, but it's all like, we're all on this journey together. nobody has the map, just because something worked for you, for them, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Like, that's the biggest thing that gets pushed out there a lot, is like, oh, I take this did everything for me, this medicine or this supplement, like you were saying, there's just some things aren't here for you, and everybody has their own individual map, and it's really up to you to dive in and ask yourself, like, trust yourself what your own next step is, and trusting your own inner guidance, because literally everyone is still healing. It's never going to end. There's no such thing as someone being fully healed or knowing more, and there's just relief in that, to come back just to that we are all human. None of us have the perfect map. We're just here to trust ourselves every step of the way. So I just wanted to end with that. And when it comes to my services, I help build systems. I haven't fully updated my website, but I do create a recalibration. I help creators build more capacity in their field to be able to hold and sustain higher light, and also be able to hold all new expressions of them. So the modality I do, it is architecture based. So it's actually working on your architecture. It's updating, it's activating the spiritual DNA, and it's building your field in real time, getting you back to your base 12 divine blueprint so that you can hold and sustain higher light. And for creators, so that you can express and share your gift with less blocks, less resistance. So that is a service I provide. And I also do mentorships to help you bridge the gap between your and through what you're creating. So I help bring you the tools. It's a completely sovereign space where I build a custom system that helps you identify what your needs are and what your gaps are. And I build a mentorship around that helps, gives you grounded practice and tools so that you can bridge the gap between what you're trying to embody. Because a lot of people have the energy, the experience. A lot of my clients have been healers for 15 years, but they still haven't been able to really step into that next phase of coherence and calling and stepping into the confidence needed to make their dreams come true. So I'm here to build systems to help creators. That's kind of my number one passion. On top of that, yes, I make a lot of content. I talk a lot about spiritual fluff and try to just put truth out there and just switch things up. I like to be a little bit of a disruptor in the field. So
Switch it up.
but I'm multidimensional, so I'm here to do a lot of things. But that's what I do. Yeah.
Nice. No, that's awesome. I love when you said here to switch it up. I used to do in-home care with mentally handicapped adults. And so it ranged from 24 hours a day where they're in wheelchairs to a few hours, just a few days a week, companionship, running errands. And one of my guys like that could, fully walk and talk and whatnot. And we'd go to the stores and on Halloween or Christmas, and we, the big box chains, and we're just hanging out and, just getting basically paid to play as like an adult kid. And we would just push all the random little things that turn on, all the little, all the Halloween things and Christmassy little things. And the whole aisle would be just like a cacophony. It was ridiculous sounding. And it was such a wrench in the system, and there was all sorts of little moments, even how they, their voice, his voice was kind of high pitched, so that would throw people off. But just to see that and hear it, and then we would be grooving and kind of dancing in the aisle. And here I am, these two grown men. They probably thought we were gay or something because he looked pretty normal. But then, mentally handicapped to some extent to get, supportive aid a few days a week. And we're just grooving, and it was just so funny. I just was just to have those moments, and that's just what came to me. Completely random, but hey, that is my thoughts.
Disruption. Yep, disruption. We're here. I'm here for the disruption for sure. That's what we're here to do, and we need more disruptors. So if there's anything that feels uncomfortable or weird, I just talk about it. We need to start having more open conversations about what feels off? Why does spirituality, I know it's a taboo topic, but the only way we're going to create change and true transformation and improve community, improve ourselves, we have to be willing to have these hard conversations and talk about things that maybe aren't uncomfortable to people. And I know that talking about spirituality it's a sensitive topic for a lot, but I think there just needs to be more conversations, because I know a lot of people have opinions and I'm ready to hear them. I'm just ready to have these conversations. So I appreciate you for letting me come on this podcast and let me just kind of talk about some things. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, no,
I
thank
say
you.
you have to
It's
have fun in life and don't take it too seriously. And definitely watch out for the people who say that they have all the answers for you, because nobody has all the answers. Your best hope of finding those answers is looking within yourself, because your spirit has the answers. Somebody else doesn't have them for you.
yeah.
Exactly.
What's
Couldn't
the
have said it
saying?
better.
Yeah. The body of God or the temple of God is within. I mean, these are literally called temples. Like they're actually trying to teach you about the world by naming parts. It's not random. So yeah, it's all within. And the last thing, you're right. Like just because you don't have an MD or a DR or a name that sounds like all these acronyms and all these metaphysical acronyms or whatever it may be in certifications, like people have experience. And this is the last thing I really want to hit home with is everyone, all 5 that are going to watch this, 5 million, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like you all have a purpose and a meaning and have something to give. And I just got through there's one more tomorrow, but these online trainings, they're these sales funnels, but they're these guys that really know what they're doing. And the whole thing, and I've said this before, I'm like, you are your niche, your niche. You are it. You are your story that needs to be told. I mean, even story is the same as starry, like your name, like it's written in the stars. No, it's written in your story. The starry, like your story, what's your tale? You know, we've all lost our tail, so to speak. And it's like their whole thing is really, and I've even come up with this on my own. So it's great to have this validated by these people. It's saying that it's like your experience within it, even if it's mundane, you don't have to have these crazy traumas or insane whatevers. Just even the struggle within the agenda we live in is enough that you can share your experience and help people. So find your purpose. Everyone's like, oh, AI has took our jobs, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, good. Let them take the mundane. Maybe that wasn't supposed to be a human job anyway. Like now they've had robotic taxis in San Francisco for a while, but I just saw something with robotic truck driving and people are like, oh my God, it's happening. I'm like, A, it's already been happening, and B, good. Sorry, truck drivers, but maybe that's not your purpose to just drive truck for a corporation. I mean, truck drivers are needed. That's like the most amazing thing, like goods on all levels. And this microphone, I mean, everything we have around us is because of goods being moved around. But I'm like, good. So there really is this calling, like this is all planned for a purpose. Maybe the bad guys are on our side in the long run. Hey, I mean, who knows, really? Not to say that evil isn't evil, because it is. It's psychotic. But if it's making you level up, a lot of people are doing what they need to be doing after 2020 rolled around. I mean, you know, so I'm going to leave it with that. Y'all need to love yourself, and listening to us is one way to help with that. And we are not spiritual gurus. Well, except Tara. No, she's not. I think this lagging.
No, I'm not. Don't give me that responsibility.
You're good.
Yeah, you said it great. I think that was a great way to wrap up, because I agree. Everyone has this as a unique gift and a unique signal to share. So you need to share it and go inward and find what that unique creative signal is, and share it in any way you can. Now is the time, for sure. Now is the time.
It is. The time is now. Even signal, this is me with names, like it's sign and AL just meaning God. Just think source. So it's the sign. Signal is like the sign of God, or your sign, your signal. Signature is the sign of your nature. I mean, it really is all about you. That's the whole point, this whole realm.
That's one of my favorite words. Yes,
Nice.
exactly. That's one of my favorite words. So
we talk about how everybody has their own unique soul signature. So it's your unique vibration that nobody else has. It's unique to your soul.
Yeah.
And outside of all your identities, all the roles you play, all the things you may think of yourself as, you know, related to your physical body, related to what you do, none of that has to do with you. Who you are is much deeper than that. And that does not change no matter where you are, what life you live, what your experience is. You grow and you change, but your soul signature remains the same. So only you can do that.
Yeah. No, it's perfect. It's just think you entered this astrology.
You can.
Yeah, I always think of it as this, like your name, the date you were born, the location, the time, how that all unfolded, all the insanity that all that came to be, like, bloop, like that's kind of that's your signature. Like you're dropped in, that's your frequency. I mean, it's pretty profound. So that was perfect, Nora. Where can people
can find me?
Yeah. Yeah. Give us all your socials. We'll put them in the chat or in the comments.
I'm basically on all socials. Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, mainly Instagram and YouTube. And my website, terrafromearth.com. My socials all the same, Terra from Earth. And I'm hoping to start a school in the fall, which will be exciting. I'm going to talk more about multidimensional tools and sovereign living. So that'll be really fun.
Wow.
I'm really looking to build a community and create a cool space for those who are ready to step into more sovereign living and become the creator of their reality. So yeah, but right now social media is great, and my website terrafromearth.com. That's where you can connect with me.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, yeah, we'd love to talk more. We can go on many of tangents that are needed as well. And what you just mentioned with the school, yeah, we should get you back on to talk or whatever you're on as well. But yeah, folks, like, subscribe, share to all the Terra from Earth stuff, as she mentioned. And with us, we're just getting started. Don't let the low numbers fool you. We got some good stuff here, some great stuff.
I would say, as well as checking out Terra, Netism.org is going to be your information for Netism, as well as the sharedworldproject.com. That is our nonprofit volunteer environmental action page. So definitely check out Netism.org for our information on cosmology, reincarnation. Check out the community page and stay tuned.
There it is, folks. On that note, be awesome. Do something awesome. And if you don't know how, reach out. We're not saying not to. Just don't become dependent.